to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington Citizen Media. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and across the computer screen for me is...
I am Rody John, and to my right is...
Amy! Well, today we talked to JJ Fenceroy about his run for Arlington City Council District 1, how COVID-19 has affected how he is running for this seat, and his genuine passion for the city.
We also speak with Hunter and Lexi Pence about their new coffee company, Hunter playing in the MLB The Show Tournament, and how they both gave back to Mother Earth by planting a few trees at JB Little Elementary.
We also have a little preview of a benefit concert that ACM has promoted and hosted, and we'll be putting that out soon.
It's a bit of a fundraiser to help out the local musicians who have been affected by this COVID as well.
Daryl, what have you been up to?
Nothing. My car broke. I've been growing vegetables. That's what I've been up to.
We have
a lot of lettuce.
Your lettuce looks amazing. What all are you growing?
I am currently growing four different kinds of lettuce. For my boutique lettuce brand, it's going to be called Lettuce Bee.
I love it.
That was hold on, I gotta give credit to my friend Aurora for that joke. That was all her. I just it's such a good name that it can't be anything but. So I'm also growing cucumbers and tomatoes.
Ooh,
great.
And oak trees.
Trees.
That'll take a little while.
Yeah, well, I've already sprouted the acorns, which is my proudest accomplishment this year, I think. That's right, the whole year.
Of the whole year of Arlington Citizen Media and all of the stuff we've done.
Yeah. It was the acorns I gathered at Young Junior High while I was picking up my kid.
Well,
what have y'all been up to? What have you? I bet y'all been doing some more interesting stuff.
We had just consumed some Hurtado barbecue. I am drinking legal draft beer, and I had Inclusion Coffee. They are opened up on Center and Abrams. Swing by and grab yourself some great coffee.
Yeah, how are they doing that? Do you just walk in like a normal coffee shop, but you got to take your stuff out? Right?
Obviously, everything's to go.
Is there, do you know, an online ordering system?
I did not see an online ordering system. I could be wrong, but I did not see one. I just walked in.
Okay. Well, it's still their grand opening. I'm glad that they're doing that. And yeah, stop by because that's a brand new place in town.
Yep. And it's going to stay open late during the week and on the weekends for the UTA students to study. So get in there.
I also wanted to mention that one of the local businesses that we fail to think about or talk about are local pharmacies. We all try to assume that working with CVS or Walgreens or what have you, Walmart is going to be easier and more convenient. But there are a lot of local pharmacies here around town. And in particular, there's one called Prime Care Pharmacy. It's on Main Street, 611 West Main Street. And they actually have a large amount of hand sanitizer, surgical, and N95 masks.
Oh, wow.
And isopropyl alcohol for sale right now. And I know that these are some hard to get items right now, but in particular, when you buy from this local shop, you are supporting local business.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. What else has everyone been up to?
We have been, like we said, working on a fundraiser that'll be coming out this Thursday.
Thursday. All right.
Yeah, the 30th. I'm sorry, there's no 31st in April. Thursday the 30th. It'll be streaming live on our Facebook channel. And
what time?
You're looking at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yeah, 6
Central Standard Time.
We have local musicians. We have local businesses. We have food. We have beer.
Sure do.
We are talking to all of these people hosting. And again, this is a benefit show. All of the proceeds that we collect from this are going directly to artists and venues who have been affected by COVID. They can't perform as usual. They have no way to make any sort of income in their traditional sense. And we just wanted to do something to help them out. Everything was filmed safely within COVID-19 restrictions. and we had a blast doing it.
Sure did.
And we cannot wait to debut this for you guys.
It sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it. I haven't actually been helping, so this is not this is going to be new for me. I'm excited to see it. What I've seen so far looks awesome. I think it's going to be something everyone can really like enjoy, and I believe the phrase has been like night out sort of feel, to kind of give you that experience that you don't get by being at home, no matter how cool your home is.
We try to give you the cool camera shots. We definitely give you some of the food. We give you entertainment, and then we also give you something to look forward to whenever this is done and everything's back open again.
Right. It's a hopeful undertone to the whole experience.
And Amy and I are very silly and dumb throughout the entire thing, so you'll laugh as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Very Jerry Lewis telethon.
Mm-hmm. There's even a pratfall.
Hi, we're here with JJ Fenceroy, who is running for City Council District 1. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're held up in our homes, appropriately social distancing.
Thriving and surviving.
Yeah.
Okay, so we wanted to have you on just to kind of talk about what made you decide to run for City Council, and then, how that decision has been affected by COVID and, what your plans for the future are. So I guess my first question is, what made you decide to run?
Yeah, so I really I'm not a politician. I've never, I didn't have any plans on running for office. And I had never really been to a city council meeting until the short-term rental issue started, because I've been doing short-term rentals. And when I bought my home here in Arlington,
right.
I bought it with the intent to rent out rooms in it to help me defray the costs of, property taxes and the mortgage and everything else. So that impacted me directly. But as I was watching what was going on in the city council, I got the distinct sense that there were a lot of people who were not being heard by the city council, that they were just pretty much being ignored and pushed aside because they didn't know the right people, or they didn't live in the right area, or they didn't have enough money, or whatever the reason was. And I felt like District 1 deserved to have a leader and a problem solver there who's willing to listen to all sides of the issue, regardless of where you live, who you know, or how much money you have. And there are nearly 400,000 residents in Arlington, and I feel like most of them have little or no say, or most of them feel like they have little or no say about what happens in our city. I don't believe it should be that way, and I'm running to give voice to those people who feel like they've been ignored or silenced, because I believe that their voice matters too.
Right.
Well, that's great. Who currently occupies that seat, and are you running against an incumbent, or has their term limits expired?
No, I am running against an incumbent. That seat is currently held by Helen Moise. She's been there for just shy of 2 years, and she would be eligible to run this time and then one more time after this with the current term limits rules out there. So I do have an incumbent that I'm facing, and that puts me at a bit of a disadvantage because, like I said, I'm not an Arlington politician. I'm not part of the establishment. So there's a challenge in getting my name out there, getting the name recognition, and especially now more than ever when we're talking about the city of Arlington recently decided to move the elections from May 2nd to November 3rd. So it'll be held with a general election. And we're looking at a completely different electorate doing it with a general election than normally participates in municipal elections. And in a sense, I think that's a good thing. I was always a little skeptical about the why we're holding our municipal elections in May when we have like less than 10% of the registered voters that turn out. There are just a handful of people out of this huge city that are speaking for all of the residents. And I think having it with the general election where a lot more people would be encouraged to actually speak up in that election, I think is a good thing, but it does present some challenges as well in terms of the broader electorate that you really need to get your name out to. So that's one of the challenges we're facing.
So, I mean, obviously this is kind of a blessing in a weird way that it does get extended to November because it gives you more time. How did the game plan kind of change from May to November? And then what are you guys now spending more time on, obviously, because we are, in fact, kind of quarantined and we are in shelter in place?
Yeah, so a few things change. And now with the coronavirus, obviously, it changes the way in which you campaign. Like by now, we should have been well into a door knocking campaign and getting out there talking to voters, going to forums and getting my voice out that way. Most of the forums have been canceled. Door knocking is kind of out for now. So being postponed till November, it does buy us some time, but I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to be over by then. I think it's going to be incredibly important to really push for mail-in balloting. And I know there's a bill up in the U.S. Congress toward that end, and they already set aside, I believe it was $400 million for that in the relief package that was recently passed by the U.S. Congress. I think that should be extended even more because even though we have the coronavirus out there and it is a big threat, our democracy can't stop for that. And we need to have options where people can get out there and fulfill their right to vote without putting themselves and their families at risk. So mail-in balloting, I think, is very important. Some things that we're going to have to focus on and do differently is, I think, putting out mailers to voters to get my name out there will be more important than ever, being that it's going to be much more challenging going door to door and knocking, having yard signs, and calling people to spread the message. I think that's also going to be important. So with that, and the fact that we're talking about a 9-month campaign now as opposed to a 3-month campaign, it's also going to require a lot more money, which is also a challenge. So a lot of challenges out there, but at the same time, you take the challenges, you roll with them, and keep going.
So have you been in contact with constituents? What seems to be people's primary issues that they're the most worried about?
Yeah, so right now, one of the things that was going to be on this May 2nd ballot, and that's also been pushed to the November ballot, is the increase in the sales tax for the Economic Development Corporation here in Arlington. So the city actually needs voter approval for this, and it would max out our sales tax at 8.25%, essentially to fund the Economic Development Corporation. My take on that is I firmly, as a small businessman, I'm a 16-year owner and operator of my own residential real estate business, and I believe strongly in supporting small business. I think we should do more of it. But I don't believe that giving subsidies to big businesses by increasing the taxes on the residents of Arlington is the way to do that. I think there are other creative solutions that we can do. And, not only have I run my business for 16 years after I retired from the Air Force, which I'm a 20-year Air Force veteran, I have tremendous amount of leadership and management experience for that. But then I've also been running my business on top of that. And when I retired from the Air Force, I went back to school to get a graduate degree in business, focusing on finance. And there are creative ways that you can incentivize businesses to do more in your city. And you don't have to provide big subsidies on the backs of the taxpayers in order to do so. That's one of the issues I know it's been on a lot of people's mind in Arlington, and I think it's a really important issue here as well. And supporting our small businesses in general, I think, is really important. When it comes to the regulations of small business, just because a city can regulate something doesn't necessarily